back, relax, and maybe get yourself a snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hey guys! So I'm here today to review another of my SBFBO titles, and this one is definitely one I would count as a semi-finalist because I really enjoyed this and I thought it was excellent. And again, I think so many of you guys are also going to like this book. The book I'm talking about is this one. It's called Moon Deeds, and it's the first one in the Star Children's saga, and it's by Palmer Pickering. I was sent the physical edition by the author, but I actually read the Kindle edition that I was sent for the competition. But I have to say the physical edition is pretty cool. I really like it, and it's a chunky old book, but it's a really nice one for a self-published one. It's got a lot of quality to it, so I'm really enjoying holding it, although it's heavy. And I really enjoyed reading this book, actually. It was a story that definitely drew me in quite quickly from page one. I found myself really connecting with and enjoying the characters whilst I was reading this. It focuses on two main characters. We have a set of twins who are called Cassidy and Tor. They both grew up as really close twins, but at the time of the story where we pick it up, they are kind of nearing adulthood and they are having to make some decisions about their lives. So Cassidy is living at home with her parents. She is learning about herb lore and magic, and she is generally trying to unlock some of her potential. When she was a very young child, she had all this magical power. In fact, it was so much that she actually got a block put on her by her grandmother in order to try and save her and help her from having too much magic shining through and kind of causing her all sorts of distress. So Cassidy, we know from the very start, is magical, but whether she can actually unlock her magic in time to help out with the story is going to be a big mystery over the course of the book. However, she does have some herb lore and some magic to do with plants, and you do see bits of that as the story goes on. On the other hand, we then have Tor. Tor does not seem to be magic at first glance, but actually he seems to have these dreams which definitely are infused with magic. He is an army in the resistance. He is kind of with his comrades away from the family, but defending them and the other people who live in this world, because the world itself has been overrun by an alien race who are called the Tegs. The planet of Earth is no longer what you would imagine it to be. It has in fact been dominated by this alien race, and there are very, very few small pockets of the world which are actually okay and kind of continuing on their existence without influence by the Tegs. The only thing that can stop this alien race is magic, and magic is what has been doing that for a couple of years when the story picks up, I think about 3. We have 2 magical shields in the world. One of them is over the place that Cassidy and Tor have grown up, and Tor is on the kind of front line of that shield behind the wall, hoping to defend against the aliens if they ever break through the magical shield. So his story is very much about comrades, and he has a group of friends who he has made whilst he's been a soldier, but he hasn't seen his family for a while, and although he does have these dreams every now and then, he doesn't really think that much of them. Now, the story really begins with the Shaman's Shield, which is the magical shield that's been protecting them, falling down and letting the Teg army invade into the area where Cassidy and Tor really live. And Tor is quickly overrun with aliens and has to retreat back to where Cassidy is. Meanwhile, she is trying to make a plan of action about what to do, and it all results in a trip to the moon, which is another place that the Tegs have not ventured yet. So I don't want to say any more than that because I don't want to spoil the story, but I do want to say that there are some really, really good moments in this between the twins and between the people that they kind of encounter along their journey. I loved the setup of the moon and the way that we had another character introduced up there who kind of gives a different perspective on things. I liked that a lot, and although I wouldn't say I like the character because they are pretty bad in what they do, I think the other dimension of that character is going to be an interesting twist as the series goes on. This is just book 1 in the series, and honestly I feel like a lot happens in the first book, because although we have the start of everything on Earth, we later go to the moon and we see more and more from other planets and the other kind of alien races that are out there. So it shows there is a really expansive setup for this entire book and world and series, and I really like that. I also have to say that I do enjoy the characters. I think that it's quite a realistic setup between brother and sister. They aren't always getting along. They do have like quarrels as the story goes on, which makes sense because brothers and sisters, even if they're twins, do that. And I also like the fact that each of them has their own plotline besides being with one another. There is prophecy in this book. In fact, there's a prophecy about the Star Children, and of course, you guessed it, the Star Children are predicted to be, by some, them. However, we do not know if this is true or not, and the story kind of focuses on what the Star Children have to do, which is to help the Star People return and save the Empire, hopefully from the Tegs, presumably. But we don't know much about it, and we do get glimpses of this prophecy here and there, but it doesn't overtake the story. I personally find prophecy is a little annoying at times, because you kind of can predict where things are going to go if there's a prophecy. But in this book, I don't think it overtook things, and I definitely enjoyed seeing how it unfolded gradually. I also think the magic of this world is something that has a lot of different elements to it. It's kind of all about calling to the gods, and it seems as though it's a magic which infuses only certain people, but there are more people who can do it than just our main characters. We meet others along the way who do have magic and who can kind of use it to manipulate things and do things. We also see how the moon is set up in a time where it's a colony, it's a civilization, and how the people living there kind of survive, which I found really interesting too. So generally, I really liked the whole concept of this book and this series, and I think the writing was really, really solid throughout. I do think there were some areas which maybe could have been trimmed a little bit, but in general, I really enjoyed the whole thing. I would say it's a really, really strong science fiction blended with magic and fantasy, and I would highly recommend it to all of you. I will certainly be picking up the next one in the series. I really want to know what's going to happen next. The ending of the book left me with a lot of questions and a lot of things that I want to know more about, which is always a good thing, I think. So I definitely will be picking up the sequel when it comes out. But in the meantime, I really would love for you guys to go and check this book out, because it's certainly one that is an underdog. It's not one I've heard many people talk about at all. And I'd love for you guys to read it and give me your thoughts on it as well, because I think so many of you will really enjoy it. I will say they are young adults, so it could be almost pitched as a YA, but a lot of dark things do happen, so it's kind of borderline, I suppose, between young adult and adult. But in general, I think loads of you will really, really love it, because the action and the adventure and the plot are super fun, and the characters as well. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you guys do want to go pick it up, I will put a link to the Amazon maybe where you guys can buy it. It's probably fairly cheap, and I hope you guys do. So please let me know if you do end up buying it and what you think of it, and I will see you very soon in another video. Bye guys!
Thank you for watching my video today. Go pick up a book, then come back and chat with me again.